reported on the 25th of February of 2020. But that's not how that's how the pandemic got there. It's not how the virus got there. A researcher in China kind of broke protocol, but uploaded the genome sequence, the code to the internet for the pathogen. That moves around the internet at light speed. Somebody in the Swiss capital downloads the code the next day, orders the DNA for print, so now builds the DNA template. You read that out in a test tube, you get the RNA genome, and you trick a cell to take that in and infect the cell with your synthetic RNA template, and now you get live virus growing in your lab in the Swiss capital. And they did all of that about 2 weeks before the pandemic came in over the Italian border. So this is what we will call in the future the bionet, right? Where the superpower of the internet, which is to move information around space-time, is going to recombine with the superpower biology, which teaches us all atoms are local. It's the ultimate distributed manufacturing capacity. And so how do you build and secure the bionet? And you were right before to acknowledge that when we talk to the graybeards, if you will, with respect to information security, who built the internet, right? They gaze longingly back in time, like, geez, I wish we had thought about security a little bit differently. You go, great, what would you have done differently? And then you get like they don't know, right? Okay, so that was one thing. Like, that's where this urgency is coming from. Like the bionet is coming. Biotechnology, as we think about it right now, is like 1970. In my view, you just try to land this point.
Like related to computers.
Related to computers.
Like where computers were.
It's like punch card coding and industrial only, right? The personal computer revolution is not a revolution in transistor physics or the science of very much. It's barely a revolution in electronics at a low level. The revolution in the personal computer is the word personal. It changes the terms and conditions of who can compute where for what purpose. So what does it look like when biology becomes a technology? We unlock the superpower of distributed local biotechnology, and it gets personal. By the way, if you're an entrepreneur, there's a fabulous company I'm begging somebody to start called Banana. Like there was Apple, and there's going to be Banana, right? But then I want to surface another element for
Banana, tell us.
Okay, wait, it's Banana.
As you service the last one,
yeah.
And then we go down the line. Have your whatever you're surfacing lead to how we're not all going to die and it's going to be okay. And then Robbie, I want you to do that too because
let me land one more and maybe give me a moment on that. So,
but you have 4 minutes and 60 seconds.
You're in. So I'm gonna take issue with your tech-only approach. I know you don't mean that, but I just want to point out that biosecurity has to be lived with humanity, right? And so it matters a lot how many malintentioned actors there are. It matters a lot whether or not we can create and sustain trust among disparate parties, right? How many times have any of us been asked or asked ourselves, like, where did the SARS-CoV-2 thing come from? That's a fine and valid question, but it's not the best question. A better question would be, why have we made it hard to answer that question? We've made that hard because of government choices, policy choices, bad design in government policy, frankly. Could somebody please start a business that was a financial audit-like mechanism, but for biosecurity trust, so that the private sector could come in and inspect a country or lab or other corporation and emit this public trust certificate? That's definitely a business opportunity, right? But it's a business opportunity.
It's a product feature we're working on.
Right. Somebody's got to compete with this guy, right? But it's a business opportunity that brings the humanity of what we're trying to create into the fore.
All right, I'm going to tell you what my company does because we're actually doing this with Matt. So Matt was talking about monitoring.
Tell us why it's going to save us all.
Yeah, monitoring airports, and it's not. I mean, it was very eloquent, but it was very high level, right? We're actually doing this using a product that my company makes, where we put these magnetic particles that are specially built to capture all sorts of microbes out of raw sewage, right into the raw sewage. So Matt's company sets up these labs in these countries right next to the airports. You go get the wastewater directly from the airplane. You take it to the lab right down the street. You drop our particles right into it. They pull out all the microbes, not just SARS-CoV-2, but all the microbes, even things that we didn't even know existed. And then you just do normal DNA preparation, sequencing, and we can see what's in there. And you all heard about wastewater testing for SARS-CoV-2, but it's going to go way beyond that. It already is. In fact, we're already now monitoring, we aren't, but our customers are monitoring for monkeypox and for Giardia. And we are working with the Gates Foundation on polio, right? We haven't eradicated polio yet because we don't know where it is in the last few communities. And people don't want to get tested in these places, but if we can monitor the sewage in their towns, we can figure out where it is, and we're doing that, right? So that's what's optimistic. Like, it is happening, it is real. There are now hundreds of publications showing this. The CDC is funding this. The DoD, we hopefully, is going to be starting to fund this. Other countries and other parts of the world are funding it. This is how we're going to be able to monitor.
Kate, what are you optimistic about?
That's a good question.
I think we bumped it now.
It's the political process so that Drew's problem gets solved.
No, I mean, I think I'm always optimistic about